Dodgers-Padres Game 4, how the Dodgers could stave off elimination and force Game 5. The lineups have just been revealed. We're breaking it all down here on another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
Dodgers win!
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball.
Grand slam! It's a double for Freddie. Magic!
They're going to make big signings. They're going to make impact trades. This is the most anticipated season in Dodgers history.
Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
And what is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to a special late afternoon edition of Dodgers Dugout Live. We are going to be breaking down everything we know from lineups to any changes heading into the Dodgers versus Padres NLDS Game 4. The Dodgers on the brink of elimination. They have to win tonight to save their season and force a Game 5 back at Dodger Stadium. And, of course, there's going to be fireworks down in San Diego. Of course, the Dodgers, you lose a tight one yesterday by a final score of 6-5. Mookie Betts homered. He looked like the old Mookie once again. Teoscar Hernandez hits a big grand slam after the nightmare 6-run second inning for the Dodgers. And we're going to be joined a little later by NBC Sports' Michael Duarte to talk about what happened yesterday. He's got some very interesting insight as to what's going on in that Dodgers clubhouse, the mood in the clubhouse, what the players are saying, what they're telling him, and why he thinks that, hey, this could also turn into a 5-game series. And the Dodgers season is not over yet. But tonight, 6:08 first pitch down in San Diego. Guys, look, yesterday was bad. It was really bad. The Dodgers going 1 for 21 after Teoscar Hernandez's grand slam definitely still hurts. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. But still, you have another chance to find a way to get right back in this series, to tie this series. Let's not forget the Dodgers have won a game this series, and you force Game 5 at home. By the way, this is from OptaStats. The Dodgers just inventing new ways to lose. OptaStats tweeted, the Padres retired 16 consecutive Dodgers hitters following Teoscar Hernandez's grand slam. That's the most consecutive batters retired in a game immediately after giving up a grand slam in MLB postseason history. So, wrong side of history there. And how about this one? Tonight, the Padres, 1, gave up a grand slam. 2, only scored in 1 inning. 3, didn't score after the second inning. No other team in MLB history has done all of that and yet still won the game, regular season or postseason. So we are inventing new ways to lose in Dodgerland, and unfortunately that was the case. But let me know where you're representing Dodgers Nation from. Give me those cities, those zip codes down below in the comment section. The lineup did just come out. We're going to break that down. Did I get my wish? Did I get something that I've been pounding my fist on the table for, screaming on the highest mountaintop? Did I get Keektober in the lineup? Well, let's take a look at that Dodgers lineup. Come down just a few minutes ago. Today's lineup versus the Padres was revealed, and a lot of the same, but also some changes. And the changes that we pushed for during the post-game show. Mookie Betts batting leadoff, the Dodgers DH. Shohei Ohtani batting leadoff as the Dodgers DH, followed by Mookie Betts. Caught up by this really nice Mookie graphic there with the balloons. I like that. I like Mookie back on the graphic. 2 hits for Mookie yesterday, but you have Ohtani leading off at DH, Betts in the 2-hole in right, Freddie Freeman still in the lineup, nursing that ankle injury that typically would keep players out for 4 to 6 weeks at the bare minimum. He's still in that lineup. The Dodgers' Kirk Gibson is batting third at first, and batting cleanup, Teoscar Hernandez in left. And then at third, Max Muncy batting fifth. Now, Max Muncy has not had a good series, did have the garbage time home run in the Dodgers' 10-2 blowout loss, but you saw a lot of bad at-bats yesterday, expanding the zone, swinging at pitches up out of the zone. Hopefully you get a better night for Max Muncy because he looks frustrated at the plate, but sometimes the best version of Max Muncy is when his back is up against the wall. And then batting sixth, another guy who hasn't had a great series is Will Smith. He's batting sixth, And that's something that you need to see, something to look for tonight. We make a lot of points about the bottom of the lineup and how important it is for them to get on base, whether it be via a walk, a single. Just find a way to get on base to give scoring opportunities for Shohei Ohtani batting leadoff. But what can't be lost is the middle of that lineup. The middle of the lineup has struggled all throughout the series, save for Teoscar Hernandez. You need a Max Muncy, you need a Will Smith to step up and perform like we've seen them in postseasons past, because so far you just have not got that. So far in 3 games, Will Smith, he's 0 for 8. 0 for 8, does have 4 walks. He's been able to get on base via some walks, and you have 2 strikeouts in those 8 at-bats, but Will Smith hasn't recorded a hit yet. He had no hit of anything. I mean, he has not recorded 1 base hit. You need at least a base hit. You need a double. You need a home run. Tonight would be a perfect night for myself, Smitty. By the way, no one's ever had a picture of me and Will Smith at the same place at the same time. So I need to get a hit tonight. I need to definitely find a way to get some bat on the ball and get a base hit. And then Max Muncy, he's gone 2 for 12 so far, hitting 167, has that home run, but that's a late garbage time home run that was meaningless. And then the other big change in the lineup tonight, after Will Smith, you got Gavin Lux batting 7th there in the second base where he's been. So Gavin Lux hasn't had the best series, hasn't had the worst series. He has contributed, though. 3 for 11, hitting 273. Did have the sac fly in Game 2. Did help spark the rally in Game 1. And then batting 8th. So here's a big change. Miguel Rojas out, Tommy Edman in. And as soon as I saw Tommy Edman pick up for Miguel Rojas after he left the game last night, I said it right then and there. Why didn't Tommy Edman start this game? Because clearly Miguel Rojas, dealing with the abductor injury, is not close to 100%. And Miguel Rojas is on this team in this lineup mainly for, 1, his depth, but 2, his defense. And when you can't play defense up to your standard because you're compromised by injury, he really had no business being in that game. Now, I will, having said that, he did get a single in the inning that Teoscar Hernandez hit the grand slam. There is that, but still, the big reason why the Dodgers lost yesterday was that nightmare second inning, and a lot of that inning was because you gave up 3 outs. So Tommy Edman at shortstop, I like that. Now, so far this series, Tommy Edman, he's 3 for 10. And I want to see Tommy Edman possibly play a little small ball in certain spots. I would like to see him possibly lay down a bunt. If he does get on via a walk or a single or extra base hit, I do want to see him active on the base pass. I definitely think that he's someone that you want to utilize his speed and get a runner in scoring position and put pressure on this Padres pitching. So Tommy Edman has a big opportunity tonight. So one of the big reasons why they traded for Tommy Edman was because he provides that depth, was because you can plug him in throughout the diamond, and he doesn't miss a beat defensively. And on top of that, he's an asset. He's a Gold Glove award-winning second baseman, plays above average shortstop and above average center field. So Tommy Edman could be a big reason why the Dodgers force a Game 5. And then thank you, Jesus, Kike Hernandez is in the lineup in center field. This is a no-brainer, and there's no guarantees that Kike Hernandez is going to hit a 3-home-run game like we saw a couple years ago in 2017. There's no guarantee that we're going to see the launch of Keektober, but at least we are going out guns a-blazing. At least he's not going to be this year's Ryan Pepio. And in his career, Kike is 5 for 12 with a home run, has a 1250 OPS against Dylan Cease in his career. So the fact that he's in this lineup, it makes me feel better about the grit, the potential for making something happen down there and giving Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman something to work with as far as producing runs. So I love this lineup. I love the inclusion of Tommy Edman, the fact that you don't have an injured shortstop, and Tommy Edman, he's hitting 300 for this series. And he also can be dynamic on the base pass with his speed. And then Kike Hernandez, I mean, just feels like we could see something special with Kike. And I like this lineup. And then, of course, we said it yesterday's show, it was going to be Ryan Brazier. Ryan Brazier is the starting pitcher for the Dodgers in this one. I think that makes all the sense in the world. Ryan Brazier is the perfect opener for this game 4 because you look at the 1 through 4 that Padres lineup. You got Luis Arias on the other side, but outside of that, you got the righties. You got Tatis, you got Machado, you got Profar. You want to neutralize those righties, and it's perfect for Ryan Brazier to go up there, get the top of this lineup, and then the second inning, I mean, really, if you look at the 5 through 8 with Jackson Merrill in the middle of this Padres lineup, I wouldn't mind seeing an Anthony Banda in the second inning, if you go down in order, potentially, and having a righty and a lefty, and then giving Landon Knack the bulk innings potentially. And then after that, you got the big guns. You got Alex Vesia. You got Blake Trine. You got Michael Kopech. You got Evan Phillips. So there is a path to victory tonight. The starting pitching isn't where we had hoped it would be. Of course, you would love to have a healthy Tyler Glasnow and a Gavin Stone and a healthy Kirsch and a Bobby Miller that had worked out. It'd be great to have those guys a part of the starting rotation, but based on what's at stake tonight, down in San Diego, failure is not an option. You have to win to continue your season, right? I want a let's go Dodgers, not a 1-2-3 Cancun. And for the Dodgers to win tonight, Dylan Cease, hey, prove it. Let's see what you got in Dylan Cease. The minute it was announced yesterday that Dylan Cease was going to be pitching on short rest, I felt better about the Dodgers' chances of getting back in this series. Dylan Cease has not pitched well in the postseason. He has a 12 ERA, a 2.17 whip in 6 innings and 3 appearances in 1 start. And yeah, against the Dodgers in Game 1, he goes 3 1/3 innings, gave up 5 earned runs on 6 hits, had 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. And Shohei Ohtani is due for a big game. And when Shohei Ohtani is due for a big game, we very seldomly see him not come through in a big spot. So, yes, I have flushed yesterday's disappointing loss. Yes, I am more encouraged. Yes, I think the Dodgers are going to win tonight. But welcome to Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers show on YouTube. If you haven't yet, do us a favor. Do me a favor. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Hit that notification bell. Keeps the lights on. It allows us to do more content for you guys. And definitely be sure to do that. So let's go down below in the comment section, guys. We got gotta win tonight. No other option from Paul Gutierrez. Shohei's going off tonight from Melanie Daly. No Mo FOMO. Let's hope Cease doesn't have it tonight. What's up, No Mo FOMO? Haven't talked to you in a while. How's it going, my man? Give you a fire take for that one. Yeah, I mean, look, Cease is a talented pitcher. There's no doubt about that. But on the same token, look, this Dodgers team, you're going to face good starters no matter what. You're going to face elite pitching at some point. So, hey, you might as well make a statement tonight. And you have the light at the end of the tunnel. And the light at the end of the tunnel is a Game 5 where you have 2 of your frontline starters available in Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Jack Flaherty. And we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I do like where this bullpen is at because for the most part, this bullpen has been lights out this series, and they've kept this team in every single game. Yesterday, they were perfect, and I think tonight it's just about getting that early lead. We got a $1.99 super chat. How many blackjacks you think Miggy hit last night? Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And, yeah, Miguel Rojas, big friend of the show. He did get into a little back and forth on an Instagram account I saw, which was really impassioned, which I found pretty interesting. There was an Instagram account that I guess made a post blaming Miguel Rojas, and Miguel Rojas had some very choice words to say to him. He said, "You think you guys are the only ones who wants to win this blank? Every single one of the players and people in this clubhouse are doing everything to effing win. It's not because of the effing effort. We doing everything possible. If that's not enough to you guys, I understand all you guys want is a victory after the final out. Nobody in this ish is lost. We plan to win, not to be the reason for the effing L." Yeah, one effing mental mistake. I wish I would have passed the ball and get one out, but my effing sorry blank was trying to do everything possible to get 2 effing outs. Yeah, I effed that decision up, and you can blame the effing reason of the L. So, moral of the story here, and I've always said this for years. I've said this for years and years and years. Players, especially during the postseason, stay off social media. It rarely it rarely is going to be a positive. There's rarely going to be something where you're going to benefit from it. But clearly, look, Miguel Rojas, I think what happened was the 35-year-old injured Miguel Rojas felt he was the 25-year-old Miguel Rojas and was trying to make a play that he's made 99% of the time throughout his career. And you saw after the game, he was dejected. You saw after the game, he was disappointed. And look, he took full accountability for it. So that to me is kind of the main thing you got to give him credit for. Here, he grounds the ball, takes 5 steps. And if you look at the play, he's taking 5 steps, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then others. I mean, that's too many steps when all you had to do was flip the ball to Gavin Lux, and Gavin Lux would still have been able to turn 2. Gavin Lux still have gotten the double play, but at the very worst, you are getting the lead runner, and then the David Peralta double doesn't hurt you as much. But here's Miguel Rojas talking about the play after the game.
It was a bad decision. I made a bad decision there for the play and for my health.
Down, do you just feel like you were just close enough to the bag to kind of make that play yourself?
Yeah, that play, it happens to me in my career a bunch of times, and I more times than not, I think 99%. Today was the only time that I haven't get the runner at least a second base, because I feel like I was playing not all the way in the hole. I was playing like in the straight up position, and I was moving to my left already, and I feel like the best way for us to get 2 outs there was that. But at the end of the day, you rethink about it and revisit the play, and all we needed was 1 out. I didn't know like the whole thing was going to happen after, obviously, but getting 1 out there probably was the best option, and I made a bad decision.
So you got to give the guy credit for it. You can see in his face, you can see it in his eyes how disappointed he was in himself. And look, I think that even if the Dodgers advance in this series, there's a pretty good chance that we're going to see Tommy Edman at shortstop for the foreseeable future, just because the injection that Rojas got clearly has worn off, and he doesn't look like he's healthy right now. So it's disappointing. I will say, great guy, great in the clubhouse. I've had tons and tons of conversations with Miguel Rojas, and he's really a student of the game, and this is an unfortunate play. Having said that, look, I mean, yeah, it was a killer play, and it definitely was the biggest reason why they weren't able to limit the damage in that inning, but don't let it fool you. The Dodgers have lacked starting pitching for too long in the postseason, and Walker Buehler was not missing bats in that inning. He had no strikeouts yesterday. He had just eight swings and misses all night long. And when you put the ball in play, bad things happen. And when you don't have dominant starting pitching in October, things like that are going to happen. I mean, the double to Peralta, the nitro zone BP fastball to Fernando Tatis Jr. So to say it was just on Miguel Rojas, I think it's a little one-sided. And the Freddie Freeman play was bad as well. But the truth of the matter is look, I mean, there's no way around this. I mean, you hate to say it, but the truth is you kind of have to tip your cap to Manny Machado. I mean, does it look egregious? It kind of does, but Machado does not interfere with the thrown ball because, look, he gets to pick his running lane. If you know the rules, he gets to pick his running lane. And with Manny Machado, there was no intent there as far as, okay, I could see the ball in the air. He establishes the running lane while the ball is still in Freddie Freeman's hand before he makes the throw. Runners used to do that all the time. And the truth is, in order to be considered intentional, Machado would have had to be seen with the thrown ball and to move into its path. Machado wasn't looking at the thrown ball, and he did not change his path to be into the thrown ball's path, so the ball hits him in his path. So I know I said path like 15 times there, but the truth of the matter is it's tough to dispute that. I mean, Freddie Freeman even said after the game that he would have done the exact same thing. Now, let's keep rolling in the comment section, guys. Are we feeling better or worse heading into Game 4 now that you've seen the lineup, now you've had a chance to process last night's loss? By the way, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the #1 Dodgers YouTube channel, getting so close to 100,000 subscribers. When we do, we'll be doing a big giveaway, so be sure to comment giveaway down below in the comment section so you're eligible. We got 2.3 million views this month, and it's all thanks to you guys. David Bruss says Jazz was right. I'm going to give you a bro right there. Don't you love it, guys? I'll read your comments. on this show because even if I don't agree with them, I just think they're funny, and that's why this is your show. I'm just hosting it, man. Well, yeah, no, we're co-hosts. You guys are my co-hosts on this show. Too many mistakes. Dodgers will lose from Diego Torres. Rudy Miggy Rojas lost for the Dodgers and lost when he put it all on red. Okay, I think that you guys are running with the gambling story. Nando 390. Miguel Rojas dyeing his hair is suspect. Don't cry tonight, please. Oh, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry tears of joy because the Dodgers are going to force Game 5. There we go. Padres broke the Dodgers. Hey, we'll see. Close out games are the hardest. And this Dodgers team, I don't think it's going to go out of fight. I really don't. I mean, look, yesterday, how many teams in 2022 and 2023 would have lost 10-1 yesterday? They would have laid down. Teoscar Hernandez's big grand slam, Walker Buehler staying out there and gritting out the start that he had, and the bullpen getting the job done to give him a chance. That was positive. The negative was horrible at-bats down the stretch. And I think there's a lot of pressure on someone who's dealt with the pressure well this year, and that's Shohei Ohtani. Tonight is a legacy-defining game for Shohei as far as his early postseason career. He's going to have a lot of bites of the apple. He's going to have a lot of wax of the piñata when it comes to his postseason career. But as far as the very first chapter of his postseason career, tonight is the big legacy game for him because he is the big 3-run home run in Game 1, gets the broken bat single. Then since he's gone 2 for 11 since. This series, he's 3 for 13. He's hit .231 with a .692 OPS and 6 strikeouts and 13 at-bats. The Padres have had a very good plan against him. They're trying to hit him with breaking balls, trying to keep him off balance. You saw that bat to Tanner Scott yesterday. They're busting him inside, four-seam fastballs on the inner half on the lower quadrants of the zone, and then he lands that slider on the outside corner because they know that Shohei Ohtani is trying to do whatever he can to not expand the zone and chase against left-handed pitchers. And right now, Tanner Scott has owned Shohei Ohtani, not just this series, but throughout his career. And you just need to see a better version of Shohei, just kind of breaking down his at-bats. It did not look good yesterday. Did get a single that led to that grand slam and was close to tying it up on a fly out of Michael King later in the game, but still, it wasn't a vintage, I'm the best player on the planet type Shohei Ohtani performance at the plate. If you look at some of these at-bats, I mean, that's a nasty sweeper down and in. Then he flies one out, just missed this one, warning track to left center, just got under it. And then later to Tanner Scott, I mean, you see the at-bat. I mean, he is in between, not seeing it well, not behind the fastball. He's looking fastball for the last pitch, and then he ends up freezing on that breaking ball on the outer half. So, look, if Shohei's the guy that we think he is, tonight's personal for him. He does not want to go down to this Padres team in 4 games. He does not want to go down in this series having a substandard series. Shohei Ohtani is built for the bright lights of October, and I think that is what we're going to see tonight. It's going to be a big Shohei Ohtani night going up against Dylan Cease. He's already had success against him this series, and I look for him to put this team on his back tonight as the Dodgers try to stave off elimination. But a couple more of your comments, and we're going to bring in Michael Duarte from NBC, who's down in San Diego covering the series. Paul Vaughn says the pen is rested, feeling better with Tommy, Kike, and Brazier. That's from Rebecca Michelle David. We got just need to lead and get 27 outs. Walker Buehler has 0 strikeouts. Yeah, not missing a ton of bats. We got a $10 super chat from T-Bet. Any truth the Dodgers management telling Dave Roberts to step down if they don't win tonight? Where are you hearing that? I mean, I haven't. We'll talk about that a little later for sure, though. 100K subscribers and D-Mac dyes his hair like suspect Rojas from Nando 390. I actually had the bleached hair back in the day when Eminem was popping when I was a little kid. The Padres win, but will lose to the Mets. LMAO. Let's see. Not so sure about that. Dodgers got rid of all their clutch hitters. Bob Boy, Dodgers let all the clutch hitters walk. I mean, Teoscar Hernandez had a clutch hit. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Leonardo Blanco, hey, D-Mac, would swapping Teo and Mookie in the batting lineup make sense? I don't think so, just because for Mookie, yesterday he had a 2-hit game, hit a home run, got robbed of a home run in game 2. We could be talking about a series where Mookie's gone back-to-back games with a home run. I think him batting in between Freddie and Shohei Ohtani makes the most sense. Mookie's an MVP caliber hitter. And I think if you're Teoscar Hernandez, you bat him down the lineup and give him the run-producing opportunities, right? I mean, he did it yesterday. You really don't want to mess with that. I mean, from your top 4 hitters yesterday, you got a single, you got a home run, and a home run. So, I mean, you got a lot of production from the top 4. It was the rest of the lineup that did absolutely nothing down the stretch. Like I said, 1 for 21 after Teoscar's grand slam, and they weren't even able to get a runner in scoring position in that situation. But coming up next, we got my man, Mr. Michael Duarte, and then after, we are going to be right back, and we'll continue to break this one down. I'll answer all your questions after this one, and we'll continue to talk Dodger baseball. But, yeah, it's going to be exciting, that electric crowd. I mean, you got Blink-182 singing all the small things. I was thinking if the Padres, they should change the record to all the no rings, because that's kind of what they have. So, I mean, let's think about that one for sure. But how about this, man? How about the Dodgers paying like Kendrick like $5 million or something to come to the stadium and perform Not Like Us for Game 5? I think that'd be pretty cool. Why not? But I think that would definitely work for me. But, yeah, we got it's not Robert's fault. Too many injuries from Rick Kick. Yeah, it's a complicated conversation for sure. It's a complicated conversation. We'll get into it later. But here we got Michael Duarte from NBC joining us to talk about what happened in Game 2, the mood in the locker, Game 3, the mood in the locker room, and the Dodgers and the Padres Game 4. How can the Dodgers stave off elimination? I'm not ready for the goodbye show. I'm not ready tonight. I don't want to do it. I don't want to have the season is over stream tonight. Please give me a Game 5 at home. And welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and show on YouTube. And we are joined by NBC's Dodgers reporter. I'm privileged to call this guy a friend. Mr. Michael Duarte joins the show. Now, Michael's down in San Diego covering the series. And first question I have for you, Michael, is just what was the mood like in the clubhouse after yesterday's loss?
Yeah, first of all, Doug, I like to call you your nickname Fun DMC, right? But none of the Dodgers fans were having fun after that Game 3 loss. And to segue into your question, being in the locker room after, I'm going to be honest with you guys, and this is not something the fans want to hear. It was very somber in that locker room, a lot of bowed heads, a lot of finger pointing, not necessarily at each other, but, you know, Miguel Rojas after the game, he took responsibility. He said he made a mistake on the play, trying to turn 2 in that second inning when the wheels fell off. But he also was pointing at the umpire for not having, I guess, the prowess and the mental acumen to look at the play where Manny Machado ran inside the baseline into the grass. At least look at it, because that is a decision that would be at the umpire's discretion, whether that was obstruction or not. It's a 50-50 shot. As Freddie Freeman told me after the game, that's what you're trained and taught to do in spring training. They have videos on it. They practice it in spring training, and Manny Machado did it to perfection. Worst that happens is he's out, and it is called obstruction. Best case, what happens? It hits off his helmet, ricochets into left field, and all of a sudden the Padres had a rally going. So Miggy Rowe was looking at the umpire, you know, why wasn't that called? It's not a challengeable or reviewable play. That's something that he was like, and he told me, the umpire told him he was looking at second base for the out, not looking at Manny Machado's base path. That would have been on the first base umpire to be looking right down at that angle, but apparently he was maybe looking back at first to see if it was going to be a double play. So there should have been some more accountability by the umpires there. That's what Miggy was saying a lot about. You know, Freddie was kind of looking at himself for the throw and the decision. Walker Buehler was taking responsibility for giving up a 6th spot there in the second inning, regardless of how it unfolded and the bad luck that ensued and the terrible defense. So there was just a lot of somber moods. It wasn't, I'm not sure. I guess it wasn't like 2020 in the bubble when they went down 3-1, but still were kind of confident they could come back, and the confidence grew. This was a team that looked just lost, I guess, and sad. And this is kind of what I saw in that same locker room, same clubhouse in 2022 when they went down to this team in 4 games, which looks like it could be deja vu. And similarly, last year after Game 2 at Dodger Stadium, even though they thought they could go back to Arizona and get one, I think they were in the same kind of situation. So not good vibes out of the locker room last night.
Yeah, that's what's so frustrating about that play because, I mean, when you look at it, it looks egregious because Manny Machado has his back turned towards Freddie Freeman, and he would have had to see the ball thrown and move into his path. But Machado wasn't looking at the thrown ball and didn't change his path into the thrown ball's path, so the ball hit him in his path. So he was able to reset that, and then you kind of have to chalk up, oh, no, Manny Machado did make a smart and savvy baseball play. I heard your question yesterday after the game to Freddie Freeman, and, yeah, Freddie Freeman basically said, I would have done the same thing. But you look at the play that really led to the nightmare inning, and it was Miguel Rojas. And just imagine if I told you, Michael, before the postseason started, that the Dodgers season might be derailed because of Miguel Rojas's defense. I mean, could have flipped the ball there, at least got one, possibly two. Could have still gotten two if you flipped it anyway. But he takes 5 steps towards the bag, is late to the bag, is late with the throw. Just how frustrating did you feel from Miguel Rojas? Just a sense from him knowing that he's an elite defender that just didn't make the right play in that moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure if frustration was the feeling, and I got about maybe 6 minutes with Miguel Rojas after the game one-on-one. I think maybe he had spoken to Kirsten Watson and Spectrum Sports in LA, but by the time I got in the locker room, which was maybe 10 minutes later than everybody else because we were out getting Shohei Ohtani, I had an opportunity to get Miguel Rojas one-on-one, and he was, I don't think frustrated was the right word, but resigned almost to the fact that that decision, which he now says was a very bad decision, not only led to not getting at least one out there in that situation, but also led to him re-aggravating that abductor injury in his leg and probably taking him out for this Game 4, this elimination Game 4 here tonight. And so he was more just resigned to the fact that the bad mistake and the bad decision led to this loss. I don't think frustration was the right word. What he said to me, quote unquote, and I'm going to move with you for a second to let the dog in so we don't have any more barking. But what he said to me, literally word for word, was he makes that play in his career hundreds and hundreds of times. And 99% of the time, he makes that double play. He gets to the bag first, and we wouldn't be in this situation. And this was the one time he doesn't get to the bag before the runner, and everybody ends up safe. And obviously the wheels start to fall off from there. Now, look, I know it's revisionist history, Dougie, but look, I went back and said, okay, let's go if everything went right for the Dodgers, best case scenario in that inning. What probably should have happened if you don't turn into the bad news Bears in that situation, right? Freddie makes a better throw, is standing up instead of on his feet, instead of on his knees, gets Manny Machado out. There's an out there, runner on first with one out, then the double play ball. You can slice it up many different ways. Let's let this play continue, but Miggy throws it underhand, right? Best case, it's 1-0 after that second inning. More often, it would have been 1-1. Worst case, 3-1. Worst case, 3-1. And then you have the Teoscar Hernandez grand slam, obviously, that would have put them up 5-3 in that case. And then the bullpen goes out there and shoves and does their job. So, and maybe Fernando Tatis comes up in the third inning and hits a 2-run shot off of Walker Buehler. Maybe he makes another terrible 0-2 pitch over the middle of the plate, missing location, and the guy sends it to the upper deck off the scoreboard, and it's a tie game at 5-5 or something like that. But in any instance, the Dodgers aren't down 6-1. In any, just change one thing about that play where they get the out and don't just keep making mistakes and compounding it as that inning goes on. And that's what's the most frustrating for Dodgers fans, because most of the time these plays were extremely fundamental plays. You and I could have made it. And like I said, instead of playing like the Dodgers defense that we, for the most part, know throughout the season, especially Miguel Rojas, a great defender at short, they turn into the bad news Bears at the worst possible time. And there's one thing I want to say, Doug, because I watched your post-game show last night after the game, letting everyone have a therapy session venting after that loss. And you were really, really, really adamant about the offense, right? The offense didn't do their job. The offense went 1 for 21 after Teoscar Hernandez's grand slam. They couldn't get a runner in scoring position. You're right about all those things. But I don't want to put certain things under the microscope and look at it from the microcosm that this is the only reason. if you look at it in the totality and kind of what we know about the playoffs, first of all, what we know for sure is the regular season is completely different than the postseason. And unlike sports leagues in Europe and other places, including Korea. In Korea, if you're the best record in baseball, you go all the way to the World Series. You have a bye all the way to the World Series, and everybody else fights to play you. In soccer leagues across the world, you win the regular season, you are the champs. You're crowned. And then they have other tournaments, kind of like postseason tournaments or Champions League or Euro Cups like that, in which you can win other trophies. We're the only sport that kind of doesn't really award the regular season at all, except for just giving you a top seed or a bye. And then you go into this gauntlet of a postseason in which, it's a crapshoot. Anything can happen. And what we're seeing now, even with the Tigers beating the Guardians, as we're recording this, the teams that are hot going into the postseason, especially for the last month, the teams that are fighting and scratching and kicking and clawing for their postseason lives, they already have this snowball effect, right? Where it's almost like an avalanche rolling down here. They're just gaining momentum by the time they roll into the playoffs. And even though these teams like the Dodgers and Phillies and Yankees and Guardians have kind of been in cruise control for most of the year in first place, they're now facing these teams that have all the momentum and are so hot, and they can't seem to stop that momentum as it comes in. And it's an interesting thing to say, but my point in all this, long story short, is runs are at a premium in the postseason. And if you're the Los Angeles Dodgers and you score 5 runs in a postseason game, including a grand slam, and you shut the Padres out 8 out of 9 innings, you should win that game, regardless of the offense going 1 for 21 after. That you should win that game. If you look at the other playoff scores outside of that 10-2 Padres game, 5 runs is going to win you almost every single postseason game in this playoffs. And it didn't for the Dodgers because you cannot put up a 6th spot against any team in the postseason and expect to win. I'll be honest with you, just like you were, I thought once it was 6-5 after 3 innings that we were going to be in for like a double-digit score. Like it was going to be a back-and-forth offensive battle. We didn't get that because pitching is at its finest. The guys that are used are the high-leverage guys, the best arms they have. And we didn't see the runs that we had, but I go back and digress and say the Dodgers, if you put up 5 runs in the postseason, you should win that game. And this, to me, is not on the offense, it's on the defense.
But the thing of that is, and I totally agree with you, it's not just isolated to the offensive side. And yes, the defense was bad during that inning. I think what happened to Miguel Rojas, and he looked so dejected and disappointed after the game, was that I think 35-year-old Miguel Rojas thought he was 22-year-old Miguel Rojas without an abductor injury, and that's what led to the misplay. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see him for the rest of the series. I think you're going to see Tommy Edman in there at short. I think what I want to see is Kike Hernandez there in center. But yeah, you're 100% right. It's not just on the offense. Having said that, though, when you're that inept, you go 1 for 21, 5 of the 6 innings go 1, 2, 3. And for me, it's you're not making the pitcher throw enough pitches. I mean, you're looking at 3 pitches per at bat. You're seeing quick at bats. And then you juxtapose that to what the Padres are doing. They're putting the ball in play. Contact mode is activated for them. And when you put the ball in play, good things are happening. And there's just, it is inexcusable offense at that point. But I think the big kicker in that inning that no one really is mentioning with Walker Buehler is, look, you don't have dominant starting pitching. You have serviceable starting pitching at best, but you don't have dominant starting pitching. Last night, Walker Buehler, a valiant effort, a gritty, gutsy performance, 0 strikeouts. 0 punch-outs, just like the time when he had 1 punch-out against the Padres on September 26th. And when you don't miss bats, the ball gets put in play, bad things happen. The whole inning started with the Manny Machado single, right? David Peralta double was exacerbated because of the bad defense. And then, as you mentioned, that's a BP 94-mile-per-hour fastball to Fernando Tatis Jr. So I think a lot of this team's problems are the fact that the offseason isn't spent signing the right pitchers that can stay healthy, developing the right guys during the season. They're just kind of really facing some bad luck because of that. Now, do you want to see Tommy Edman at shortstop and Kike in center field, or what do you think they do at that position for tonight and hopefully in Game 5?
Yeah, that's a great question. And to counter your point, yeah, Walker Buehler hasn't had swing and miss this season. He's not the pitcher pre-second Tommy John surgery where he could rear back and throw 99, 100 miles per hour. This is not the sticky stuff era where, he can get better spin on that ball, have better command. This is a different time. This is a different Walker Buehler, and he still went out there, in my opinion, pitched an excellent game that he should be proud of. His defense let him down. He did make that one mistake to Fernando Tatis Jr. He's wearing it today. He was wearing it last night. He had the best quote, I thought, out of every single player I talked to, Doug. Walker told me, you can't, I'm trying to think of the exact words. He said, you can't give up a 6th spot in the postseason and expect to win a game. I put our team in a hole. Regardless of what happened with the defense, I still gave up that double to Peralta. I still gave up that 2-run home run to Fernando Tatis Jr. I still hung that 94 pitch. It was a bad 0-2 pitch. He owned it. And he said, I put our team in a hole. And even though that grand slam got us right back in it, it ended up being too big of a hole. And that's kind of the point I'm getting at. Runs are at a premium. So when you put up 5, you should expect to win that game. But to your second point, look, you cannot have swing and miss stuff and put the ball in play. And if you have elite defense behind you, you can still get a victory. A la Yu Darvish game 2. Before that final inning, that 7th inning, he only had 1 strikeout the whole game. But his defense is robbing Mookie Betts of home runs. They're making leaping catches at the wall. They're making bases loaded. They had him on the ropes in the 2nd inning, Doug. You get a hit there. Tommy Edmonds hit a little bit higher, goes over the glove of Luis Arias. 2-run score, you're in the lead, and maybe you knock Yu Darvish out of the game in the 2nd inning. Instead, Luis Arias leaps, catches it, runs the bag, double play, rally ended, inning ending, soul crusher right there. When you have elite defense behind you, if you put the ball in play, let your guys do what they do, spectacular defense, web gems, all what we saw, Tatis making a leaping catch, you can win ball games. Fortunately, it looks like the Dodgers don't have that kind of defense. And so, to your point,
what's so crazy about it is Freddie Freeman's a Gold Glove Award winner, and then Miguel Rojas plays Gold Glove caliber defense. That's why baseball is not for the faint of heart. Now, as far as one of the biggest storylines heading into this series was how would Shohei Ohtani fare in his first postseason action? And we saw the heroics in game 1, hits the 3-run home run to tie it, then gets the broken bat single. Since then, he's gone 2 for 11. He has had a lot of strikeouts, 6 strikeouts and 13 at-bats, hitting .231 with a .692 OPS. It's been absolutely owned by Tanner Scott in this one. What are you seeing from Shohei Ohtani at the plate, and just how important is it for him to just have a big night against Dylan Cease?
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to some of what you're saying. I'm going to answer all these things because I know I didn't answer the last one. Yes, I would put Tommy Edman at short, Pages or Kike in center, just like you said. Kike's a postseason clutch guy. We haven't really seen him this series. Yeah, and so maybe you should put him out there. But Pages had probably one of the best at-bats. Even though he struck out, he had a great at-bat in that 1 for 21 stretch, fouling a bunch of pitches off, fighting, seeing pitches. Even though he struck out, it was a good at-bat. And to your point, yeah, the rest of the guys were swinging at the first pitch and grounding out, and it was just felt like every inning was 1, 2, 3. It felt like every at-bat was feeble. You were right. Max Muncy looked overmatched every single time he went to the plate. Will Smith looks like a shell of himself from the first half of the season. It's not good. And now you go to what you just talked about, Shohei Ohtani, right? The superstar, the presumptive, and let's just face it, going to get the MVP in the National League as a DH. The first time a full-time designated hitter is going to win the MVP. Crush that home run to bring the Dodgers back. And, I wrote this in my story, Doug. Last 2 postseasons, the Dodgers don't come back from these games like they did in game 1 or even when they go down 6-1 in the 2nd inning in a playoff game in game 3. But those teams didn't have Teoscar Hernandez and Shohei Ohtani on it. They needed guys like this with the emotion and the fight and the clutch moments. And they need to re-sign Teo into a 5-year contract to keep him around with this core moving forward because he's crucial and vital to this lineup. And I like the passion and energy he gives, especially with that grand slam and the swag he has, and also being the Dodgers' only home run champion. For Ohtani's a fastball hitter. Most of the Dodgers are fastball hitters. You were talking about how the Padres put together good at-bats. That is their identity. They don't strike out a lot. Whether it's Luis Arias, whether the batting champ, whether it's Jurickson Profar, Tatis, who hasn't struck out this whole series, and I think that's like a record so far in the postseason. Machado doesn't strike out a lot, though you can get him on that outside sweeper because he'll swing at that outside pitch off the plate. These guys, Bogarts is a great hitter for contact. Okay, these guys don't strike out. The Dodgers, they've never really had that before, right? Trey Turner maybe was that guy, but for the most part, the Dodgers have been home run or strikeout kind of guys, right? Swing or miss kind of guys, all or nothing kind of guys. That's how they construct the team. And you're seeing it in this moment in the postseason where putting together good at-bats, making the opposing pitcher make more pitches, seeing more pitches, just putting the ball in play and letting the defense have to make a play is working for the Padres as a strategy and not for the Dodgers. And so to answer your question, Yu Darvish created the formula on how to get Shohei Ohtani out. First 3 times he faced Ohtani, who, by the way, Ohtani called Darvish his hero growing up in Japan, even though they're 9-10 years apart. Yeah. But all breaking balls, curveballs, sliders, slow, soft stuff with movement, right? He's like, I'm not making the Dylan Cease mistake. I'm not throwing you a 98 cookie up in the zone over the heart of the plate. I'm going to paint corners. I'm going to throw you off speed, nothing over 90. And Ohtani just can't seem to adjust to that slow breaking stuff, the sliders, the curveballs. Tanner Scott has been pitching him the same way. He caught him looking last night in his final at bat over a pitch. I think it was like 80 something right over the heart of the plate. But I think Shohei was probably looking for a fastball. That's why he didn't swing, because he didn't recognize it, and it ended up being right over the plate. So I think Ohtani is looking for a heater every single time he comes to the plate, and the Padres are not playing into that, and they're not giving him anything over the plate to hit. Now, it's interesting, we have Dylan Cease starting on 3 days rest here tonight in Game 4. He's never done that in the entirety of his career. We know historically, because the Dodgers have thrown a lot of guys out there on 3 days rest, including Walker Buehler in 2021, that despite being up for the task, wanting to do it, it's not part of your normal routine. The shoulder and the elbows and the arms don't necessarily recover and heal the same way. He might not be able to go as deep. Fatigue might be a factor. Dylan Cease is a flamethrower. So I think Ohtani's first couple of bats, and Cease in there, he's going to get some fastballs. He's going to need to capitalize on them early. And as Shohei Ohtani told me after the game, Doug, through kind of broken translation through Will Ireton, the team has fight. They can win. They know they just need to win 2 more. They've done it all year. But it's crucial and vital, Ohtani said, that they get the momentum first. They score first. They have all the momentum. They silence that crowd in San Diego at Petco Park, because they have not done it through the first 3 games outside of that Mookie shot, but it was gone by the second inning. So they need to get the momentum, steal it, take it, and keep it in this Game 4 to have a shot at winning.
Yeah, I think that's the source of hope, right? Fact is, it is Dylan Cease on short rest, and Dylan Cease so far his postseason career has been not very rosy at all. He's been awful. I mean, 12 ERA at 2.17 WHIP in 6 innings and 3 appearances, just 1 start. Ohtani against Cease in his career, 4 for 15 with 2 home runs and a double. So I think that is something to feel very encouraged about, is we haven't seen Shohei Ohtani go very many games consecutively without popping, without either a multi-extra base hit game, without a home run in a big spot. I think you're absolutely right. Is Shohei Ohtani setting the tone early with something big can totally change the momentum of this game, change the momentum of this series, because we know this is a front-running team. This is a team that likes to get out in front, get the crooked number innings, score a ton of runs, and then hopefully ride the bullpen onto a victory. And you mentioned Andy Pages, that great at bat. I absolutely 100% give him a ton of credit. And I think that at bat alone, the fact that he saw so many pitches, 9, 10 pitches in that bat, I think that gets him a spot hopefully in the lineup. And I honestly, yes, you do have a righty on the mound, and Max Muncy at the plate. At some point, you have to believe that he's going to play like the guy we've seen, get some extra base hits, get some thump in this lineup. But I would not be opposed to saying Kike Hernandez at third and Andy Pages in center, just to give you a different look with guys that can grind it out at the plate. So he's just the at-bat quality for Max Muncy has been really, really bad of late. Same with Will Smith. I mean, a lot of these guys that you were hoping would give you that middle tier after the big 3 just have not delivered outside of Teoscar Hernandez, and save for the first game where the bottom of the lineup really stepped up and gave Ohtani run-producing opportunities, especially in that 3-run shot, haven't been there as well. Now, as far as the pitching side, just trying to construct what they could do tonight, my opinion, I think you go Brazier. I think you go Brazier to open this thing up against the righties, and then you go to possibly a Landon Knack to try to be the bulk guy. But I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a Brazier, Anthony Bonda situation as well here in a winner-take-all. I mean, a all-hands-on-deck type of game where you're facing elimination. I would not be opposed to seeing that, because Bondas look good, Braziers look good. I think a right against those righties is going to be very important to at least keep them at bay early on, give your offense a chance to score runs and get out to an early lead.
Yeah, and one thing I want to say is I would like to see a little bit more small ball, I guess. 1 for 21. Look, Tommy Edman started a rally for the Dodgers, ended up leading to Teoscar Hernandez knocking in the go-ahead runs there with a bunt infield single in Game 1. Edman might be the only guy who can kind of do that. There's not really guys who are speedy and shifty and small like that, but I would be inclined to see that.
I was convinced that he was going to bunt all night. I was waiting for him to bunt all night, and he just wasn't doing it.
Correct. And I would have loved to see that from him. Chris Taylor came in later in the game. Maybe Chris Taylor, he pinch run for Freddie after Freddie got the single. I know it's difficult. I know all eyes are watching, but steal that bag. And now you've put pressure on the Padres where when there's a guy at second, you're worried about maybe they can see something or what pitches are coming or dictating back to the hitter. And I know with the PitchCom era, that's a little different, but with a guy on second, you're putting a little bit of pressure on them. They know they're one single away. Maybe they start pitching to a guy different. I just want to see a little bit more aggression from the Dodgers, creating things instead of just waiting for that big swing. And you're right, Max Muncy can run into one, maybe any at bat, but if he's not, he's looking overmatched in the series. And to your point, as far as the pitching and who's starting, look, I kind of think you should just start Landon Knack. Don't bring him out of the pen, don't bring him in bulk. I know that's not what they're going to do. That's not what this team does. But I think maybe just giving him a clean inning to start the game, letting him go, having a very short leash might be the better way to go. But what's more likely is either starting Banda or Alex Vesia, even who didn't pitch in game 3, but I think you want to save him for something more high leverage. If you start Banda, you maybe put pressure on Mike Schilt to not start David Peralta, the former Dodger who had a home run in game 2, the RBI double in game 3, and maybe you let him go Solano instead, right? Just to see if you can turn that lineup over. And then you go to Landon Knack. Maybe you can go Brian Brazier inning 2, and then Landon Knack starting out of the pen in inning 3 in a clean inning in a clean spot. And maybe then that gets Solano out of the game and they put Peralta back in at that point and they move guys around. And maybe you're playing a little bit of chess in a way, getting Solano's bat burn, nobody off the bench in case the game is close late and they want a pinch hitter. So that could be an option. But more than likely, I think you're right. You're going to see Brazier. You're going to see probably Banda at same point. It's all hands on deck tonight. And regardless if they're winning or losing, unless it's just a complete blowout, I think the guys you mentioned, we're all going to see again. I think we're going to see Blake Trinan again, Michael Kopech again, Alex Vesia at some point, probably Daniel Hudson again. I think you're going to see all hands on deck in this game. And if you're a Dodger fan, hope that the Dodgers can get to Dylan Cease, that the 3 days rest doesn't have him operating like the flamethrower he's been for most of the season, the ace of that staff for most of the season. Get some runs early, silence that crowd, and then just go out there and pitch your butts off and hope Landon Knack can give you some coverage and go 3-4 innings and try to steal this thing. Because if it goes back to Dodger Stadium for a game 5, you now have the pitching lined up where there's an off day in between, so your relievers reset, all arms will be available again, and you have Yamamoto and Jack Flaherty that you can throw. Hopefully Yamamoto is not tipping his pitches in a game 5, has learned from it. A little bit more crisper. Flaherty actually didn't pitch bad except for the mistake, that he made to Tatis early and to Peralta also. So you have both of those guys. You have a full pen, and you'd be going up against Yu Darvish again. You've seen him now. I know he just kind of is a Dodger killer in the postseason. He always has been, but it's a guy they've seen a lot. You know what's coming. You know it's breaking ball. You know it's curveball slider. Maybe they can put together some better at-bats. Maybe they can put some guys in the lineup that are better hitting those off-speed and breaking ball pitches than the fastball hitters that they had in there in game 2 when they all struggled.
Yeah, that's a fantastic thing to remind everyone, is that how pivotal that day off is. I mean, if you can find a way to win tonight, then you're just saying, okay, we have home field advantage. It was a tough series against a tough opponent, one of the hottest teams in baseball the last 50 games of the year, but we have game 5 at home. That's why you finish with the best record, to earn that right to play in front of your fans in a winner-take-all game 5. And you look at where the bullpen is set right now, and Yamamoto and Jack Flaherty, yeah, you have 2 starters to work with. For me, I mean, we're talking, well, hopefully this will be a great conversation to have in a future show, but Jack Flaherty, someone who kind of gave you a B+, C-, a C+, B- performance in his start, but he didn't have the blow-up inning, right? I think Yamamoto is someone where he has the upside potential to be dominant, but also the floor on him can be so low potentially against a talented lineup against the Padres. But for tonight, though, I do think, I'm telling you, this is the plan. Ryan Brazier, you got Arise on the other side, but then through that 1 through 4, you definitely want a righty. And I would go Brazier, Banda, then Bolt guy. Then you still have a lefty in Vesia later. Then you got the other big dogs in Evan Phillips and Michael Kopech. And then you could try to find a way to piece together 27 outs and get a win. And hopefully your offense steps up in a big way. So, yeah, I mean, the path is there. And really the biggest wild card tonight is, how do you get to Dylan Cease? And I think this team has already proven they can get to him. We talked about Kike. By the way, I'm going to throw my TV in the middle of the street if I don't see Kike Hernandez in the lineup. Michael, I mean, Kike is 5 for 12, the home run at 1250 OPS against Dylan Cease. I mean, I don't want to see him as this year's Ryan Pepio, right, who doesn't get a chance to contribute in this series when I think he could help this team win. But, yeah, just kind of big picture stuff. big picture stuff. Tonight, the Dodgers win. Game 5 is anyone's game. If you lose tonight, Michael Duarte, does Dave Roberts have a job as the Dodgers manager heading into the 2025 season?
That's the $1,000,000 question, Dougie. I've been following along with you on social media, getting a pulse of the fans, and literally we in the press box, the journalists that cover this team day in and day out, year after year, are having the exact same conversations regarding Dave Roberts. What I want to say, like I said, is trying to not put things under a microscope or a lens, right? All things equal, the Padres are the better team this series. They had multiple multi-run leads in game 1. We were able to fight back. Ohtani's homer, Teo's big hit, bullpen pitching out of their minds, Trinan going out of his mind for the last 4 outs. But even then, bases were loaded. San Diego had their opportunities. They couldn't get that big hit. We snuffed them out, right? But in game 2, they erupted, blew it off. And they show that their defense is even better than ours. They did the same thing in game 3. Their pitching and defense is solid. Their bullpen is solid. Their starting pitching is stronger and deeper than the Dodgers. The reality of the situation is beyond anyone's control, and try to focus on things that are not your control. And yes, they had the best record for the totality of the season and the best record in baseball, but the Padres were the best team since the All-Star break on. And they are the reason why most analysts pick the Padres at like a 85-90% clip to beat the Dodgers in this series. They're just more well-balanced, and the Dodgers are just more injury depleted. You have Freddie Freeman playing on one leg. You had your defensive shortstop and Miguel Rojas playing with a torn abductor for the last month plus, and it showed on that play that ended up being absolutely crucial, soul-crushing to that 6-run second inning. You got Kershaw with a toe. He can't even pitch again. You got Glasnow, your ace. Could you imagine if just Glasnow was healthy? They did everything they could, giving him rest through the season to make sure he was healthy for October. It sucks he wasn't able to go, but if he could have pitched game 1, and you could have had Yamamoto 2, Flaherty 3, Buehler's your game 4 against Cease on 3-day rest against San Diego. It changes the entire dichotomy of the series. I actually think Dave Roberts has pushed the right buttons, made a lot of tough choices, including leaving Walker Buehler in last night in the 6th inning, I believe, or 5th inning, and letting him walk Jackson Merrill intentionally after the wild pitch, and then getting Xander Bogaerts out. After he had come to the mound and the whole stadium thought he was giving him the hook, he leaves him in. When was the last time you saw Dave Roberts come to the mound and not give a guy the hook? That was crucial. Bringing in Trinan, bringing in Kopech early, and taking Kopech out after 3 hitters, knowing he didn't have it, knowing he was erratic. Roberts has pushed the right buttons. I think the complaint from people is he doesn't have that fiery energy to fire guys up. He's not out there like Tommy Lasorda kicking dirt and in the umpire's face, and maybe they want to see that. But at the same time, I say, and look, to answer your question, he's going to be a lame duck manager next season. He's entering the final year of his contract. Nobody wants to be a lame duck manager. I don't think if they lose tonight in Game 4 and eliminated 3 straight years in the NLDS, that would put them, 2-9 in NLDS games over the last 3 years. That's atrocious record right there. There's going to be a tough conversation. I don't think Dave Roberts wants to play a final year without a contract. Maybe he plays poker with them and says, I'll do it and prove it to you or fire you. To me, you look at guys like Bruce Bochy, right, who now has, 4 World Series in the last decade or so. But he also misses the postseason the other half of the time, right? Or has an awful team after that who's below 500. Do you want these Dodgers to be in the tournament each and every year? Or do you want a guy that maybe can win you a World Series, but maybe you're not in the postseason after that? Maybe he loses the locker room. Look at the Padres. The Padres, I think, have had 5 managers during Dave Roberts' tenure. They've also gotten to the postseason. Then they have years where last year they don't even make the postseason entirely, and there's been dysfunction and egos and distress in the locker room. And then they end up firing the manager and hitting reset and going again. They also haven't won the World Series, by the way. They also haven't even gotten there, by the way. So to me, it would be really tough to fire him. And who are you going to replace him with? Francona now went to Cincinnati. Skip Schumacher's a name that's getting a lot of heat. But this is a guy, 2 years, had an awful season this year on a bad Marlins team. They got bad front office, bad management. I'd like to see him on a better team with a better owner and a better front office situation to see maybe what he can do. But he's not a proven World Series winner with the best winning percentage among active managers in MLB history. Dave Roberts is. What I can say is that they have not figured out the formula for the postseason under this new wild card format, extensive format, where the bye gets a week off. They haven't figured it out. They probably won't figure it out. We don't know what the answer is. Do you play 500 ball until July and then try to flip a switch and turn it on? I don't know. It seems like that's been the formula that's working. worked for the Rangers, it worked for the Diamondbacks, it's working for the Padres, for the Tigers. It worked for the Phillies in the 2 years prior to that. But that's gambling right there. So I don't know. I think there's going to be a conversation, and I think if Dave Roberts is willing to play out the final year without an extension, he might stay. If he doesn't want to do it, I think they might move on and go in another direction if they lose in Game 4.
It's going to be tough. And honestly, if you look at this series, it was a masterclass in bullpen management in Game 1. Game 2, his pitchers gave up 6 home runs. They were never in it. Game 3, as you said, one of the rarest of rare occasions where Dave Roberts pays the mound visit, leaves the starter in there, and the starter is able to get out of that inning. And then the bullpen management after that was outstanding as well. And I think if there was something you could quibble with, maybe you do want to see Dave Roberts to go out and talk to the umpire after the Manny Machado play with Freddie Freeman, even though that's not a challengeable play. At the very least, you have the savviness of saying, okay, I'm going to try to stop some momentum, trying to quiet down this crowd a little bit. But yeah, he doesn't do that in that situation. I would prefer my manager go and talk to the umpires versus my players to get an explanation in that situation. But at the end of the day, I think what it comes down to is roster construction over management. And like you said, who is going to replace him in year 1 that's going to be better? I think that's the big kicker in all this. They're not in a position to say, okay, let's bring in a Skip Schumacher, allow him to learn what it's like to go deep into the postseason, and then, okay, we make a World Series win and we make a run, right? It's rare to see, whereas Dave Roberts, he's had the highest of highs, he's had the lowest of lows. And if you're someone who believes that the Dodgers would have won the World Series in 2017 against the Astros had they not have cheated, well, then you're someone who's also saying you would be willing to fire a 2-time World Series winning manager that's on a Hall of Fame trajectory. So I almost think that there's a world, Michael, where internally, based on the way they know that Dave Roberts is really a conduit to the front office, the baseball analytics department, the development to the lineup to, it's a collaborative effort. There's probably a world where they're probably laughing and they think it's even a ridiculous notion to suggest firing Dave Roberts. But you made the best point. The most important point is players don't like to play under lame duck managers. Managers don't like to manage with one contract because their voice isn't the same, because it shows, okay, there's not a vote of confidence for me. And that's something I have to clear up in the offseason. But we know you got to go. Do want to ask you, though, just based on series you've covered, you've been on the road a lot. How does this energy, this electricity of the Petco Park feel? Because I know that I know you rep you're an LA lifer, a USC Trojan. You love your boys in blue. You got Dodger Stadium tattooed on you. Fun fact about Michael Duarte. But I mean, come on, were you singing Blink-182 last night at Petco Park? I mean, were you a part of that group? Because that was kind of cool.
I mean, I know that's their tradition, and they've actually had the members of Blink-182 in the stadium this year, I think in the wild card round, to like lead it and sing it. I'm not more of an all the small things guy. I kind of like Michigan's Mr. Brightside a little better than that. Yeah. But look, I know fans hate, and I've been getting it. It's the most successful article I've written so far in the postseason is the Padres banning people from Dodgers zip codes, LA zip codes, from purchasing tickets. And I wrote about it in that article that if you want a home field advantage, if you want 45,000 people at Petco Park waving yellow towels and give yourself the best opportunity to win, that is what you need to do. And I don't hate on San Diego Padres organization and the tickets for doing it. I think it creates a much better environment to see 45,000 Padres fans with the yellow towels giving their team, just as we had 57,000 Dodgers fan waving blue towels for games 1 and 2. My sister, who's I'm at her house right now, she lives in San Diego. She's a Dodgers fan as well. She was like, I was just here a couple months ago during that 2-game series at Petco Park that the Dodgers lost both games. And she was like, it was all Dodgers fans. It was a takeover. And I'm like, yeah, in the regular season, they do it. And that's why they do this ticket ban in the postseason, because they know Dodgers fans will buy all the tickets and come down and make this Dodger Stadium South. And that's what it is in the regular season. But in the postseason, for baseball, for atmosphere, for environment, for that all the small things song that you talked about, they want their own fans in there. They have no other professional sports team here anymore. Like, let them have this, right? So I don't hate on them for banning the tickets. Yeah, it's kind of lame. But at the same time, if it's necessary to create the environment we've been getting in all these games, I like it. It was a great environment last night. I think they're equally as loud as Dodger Stadium, but Dodger Stadium is just as loud. And I was also been at Citizens Bank in the postseason. That gets actually louder than either of those two stadiums. But I like it. I think each team should have that home field advantage. They should have all the fans behind them. They should have the towels and all that. And so it's been a great atmosphere here. I don't know. It's been equal to, if not a little bit less than 2022. In 2022, man, that was their first taste. They were so excited, and it was absolutely electric in there. They had Hoffman on the screen. Drew Brees was next to me last night in the press box. He was rooting for the Padres. So, like I said, let them have this. They like it. The atmosphere has been electric. And as Ohtani said, it is so important that the Dodgers silence that crowd. When Teo hit that grand slam, 45,000 people went soft last night. And you could only hear like the few hundred Dodger fans screaming and yelling when Teo hit that slam. So you need to repeat that. You need to get out to a big lead early, silence that crowd, and get this thing back to Dodger Stadium.
And there he goes, Michael J. Duarte from NBC. Special thanks to him for joining us. He'll be covering tonight's game for NBC Sports. And yeah, he made tons of excellent points and great insight. We appreciate him joining the show. And just a reminder that today's episode of Dodgers Dugout Live is brought to you by our friends at Underdog Fantasy. Take a swing at Pick'em this baseball season on Underdog. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog. I personally had a great time on Underdog so far this year, and it's really simple to use. And you just take a look at the stats and the projections for my favorite players. This week, I'm taking higher than 230.5 passing yards on Kyler Murray and higher than 71.5 rushing yards on Bijan Robinson. Underdog is super easy to play, and it's even easier to get started. Go to their easy-to-use mobile app or use UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code DNP, and Underdog will give you a mystery special pick to use on your first pick'em entry, plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code DNP to claim your new customer special of a mystery player pick in your deposit offer. But yep, guys, welcome back. Dodgers Dugout Live. We got win 2 games. That's the message. That's what it will do. Hey, how about this? After the triple play against the Padres late September, and everyone was freaking out, what did the Dodgers do? They won 2 straight. You can put together a 2-game winning streak against this Padres team. I'm growing more and more confident. I like the discussion that we're having on the show about Dylan Cease on 3 days rest. We got my man, by the way, a shout out to my man, Anthony Keene. This channel has grown tremendously throughout the last couple of years, but Anthony Keene, you are a day one, my man. Says, great discussion, D-Mac. You two would make a great Dodgers podcast team. I can produce. Let's make it happen. Anthony Keene, here's the thing about me and Michael Duarte, and every time we hang out in the press box, our podcast would be 7 hours long. It'd be literally 7 hours long. He likes to talk. I like to talk. But yeah, anytime we get him on the show, he's great. And yeah, that would be awesome, though. He is the man. And also, he's got interests outside of just the Dodgers, man. He's a big football guy, likes TV. He's got opinion on basically every single thing you could imagine. So yeah, shout out to Michael Duarte. We got Gene Kim. Dodgers could have had Crochet frontlining that rotation, but no, Freeman does not know how to make it happen. I mean, we'll dive into that conversation when it presents itself. I don't want to give the bad juju. Want to continue to have the let's take game 4 and enforce game 5. So I kind of have to, you guys know how the show works. I keep 100. I got to tell you guys everything Dodgers related. And I don't know if you guys saw this. Miguel Rojas yesterday playing some cards, playing some blackjacks. Guy says my brother's buddy said Rojas was ripping cards till midnight last night. And look, honestly, typically 99.9% of the time, this really isn't a story. I mean, you got a professional athlete. The game's over. You can do what you want. He probably knew at this point his season was over as far as the series goes because of the injury. So, I mean, he's got to do what you got to do. Optically, it doesn't look good. Especially what happened earlier in the season with the whole Ipe thing. People are going to run with that kind of stuff and make jokes. And the truth of the matter is, gambled a little bit on that play to try to get the double play all by himself and not just flip it to Gavin Lux. But still, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I love Miguel Rojas. I really do. He's a fantastic dude to have on, and still Paul Vaughn said that's not Rojas. Anthony Keene, oh, that's real LMO. I thought it was a meme. I mean, I'm not. So I was told by a reporter that's in San Diego that this is actually real. We'll see though. I mean, I was told this was real though. I mean, but it's allegedly, it's not 100% confirmed, but I was told it was real. Other thing before we leave here, though, Dave Roberts did say before the game that he's going to be using his best relievers in this one. All of the high leverage relievers are going to be available, so don't expect a Landon Knack Bolt game where you're having him throw 4 innings. Maybe he goes, maybe he doesn't. If he does, probably won't be more than an inning or 2. So I like this strategy. I think you go all in on Game 4, and you worry about Game 5 when it comes along, and you also do it knowing you got your 2 frontline starters both available in some capacity. So I like this strategy about the Dodgers. The truth of the matter is the Dodgers bullpen has been really, really solid to great for most of this series. So I like that strategy. Couple more guys. We got Paul Von Rojas will be a solid coach. Yeah, Miguel Rojas actually told me that he wants to be a coach one day. He wants to be a manager one day, and I think he's got the baseball mind for it, for sure. We got the D-Mac smashing on the Tortas. Lack will leave the yard one day. CT3's bat will be the X factor. Yeah, I hope it wasn't Miguel Rojas, but even if it was, I mean, he's not doing anything illegal, right? I mean, let's be honest here. He's an adult doing what he wants to do, even if that was him or wasn't him. But that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. A super chat here on the way out. D-Mac, thank you for everything you have done all year. You kept it real all year. You have a special torta place in my heart. Comment to the show. Comment to the show. And I appreciate that. Let's hope this is not over. Even if it is, we got a whole offseason to talk Dodger baseball 24/7, 365. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you haven't yet subscribed to the #1 Dodgers YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. Join us immediately after tonight's game. Win or lose, it's going to be a big one, and you won't want to miss out. Comment giveaways so you're eligible for our 100,000 subscriber giveaway down below. Remember, nothing brings together quite like Dodger baseball. Dodgers getting the dub tonight. Until next time.